What's going on, guys? I'm away from my studio, but I still wanted to jump on and do a quick video. We saw Big Bear make a big move today. Maybe the bear is coming out of hibernation. We see DWave continues its rally day after day. It's posting gains. And I wanted to take a look at LAES as well, which had a nice little 2% pop today. So we're going to just jump right into it and we'll get in and out of here nice and quick. So we see that SkyWater actually had a 5% day, and we started talking about SkyWater. And for those of you who don't know, SkyWater is the chip fabricator for DWave and does onshore manufacturing of chips and such. So SkyWater had a nice 5% day. QBT, we know that QBT is going into the Russell 2000 and 3000, and that they had a nice day. LAES had a 2% pop, and we can see that QBTS, despite their mixed shelf that they posted, still ended in the green. With a little further down the watch list, we see that Rigetti and IonQ had a little bit of sell-off. So it looks like IonQ is still struggling to hold a $40 position. If we look at the heat map today, Meta had a really great day as far as tech is concerned. And then a lot of tech just kind of chopped or went sideways, or there wasn't a ton of movement. And then we see that a lot of the market actually saw a sell-off. So it was a mixed day in the market in general. Okay, so let's take a look at DWave, which has been on this incredible rally and just continues to hold its rising support. So if we go back to earnings and we measure the move, we see that there was a 190% move. Then we saw some sell-off, came down and touched its rising support. And today we closed from earnings 162% of return. And this blue line here indicates this rising support, which has come into play a few times. We can see that DWave is using this kind of as it continues this rally. In this last couple trading days, we haven't seen explosive moves out of DWave, but just a little bit here and there, 1% here, 0.5% here, 1% here, 0.5% here. But it's starting to add up to look like DWave might want to do something like come up here and test its all-time high at 1979. It looks like this 1813 we did reject off today, and it has come into play in the past, both as resistance and kind of a support. So we could see in a bull case, potentially DWave break above this 1813 and then move up to retest its all-time high. If we were wanting to just establish a base case and what I would personally like to see with the stock, I wouldn't mind if it just traded sideways. I think the stock is already the valuation. There are definitely valid concerns about the valuation. So the longer it can hold a reasonable level and not overextend itself further, I think that's healthier for the stock. Now, in a bear case, if we break trend and we move down, I think what we'd be looking at is like a 16, 15, or in an ultra bearish case, we would fill the gap and move down to 13 pre this gap up. So I still think it looks incredibly bullish for DWave, and I'm still looking at DWave to the upside, although this is certainly a risky entry point for this ticker. All right, so BigBear.ai, we've been talking about BigBear.ai lately, and for any of you who have got into a position with Big Bear, we have talked about how Big Bear has a tendency to move explosively. So we can see back here in April, we were trading under $3, and today we closed in the low fours. So if we just measure the move to market close, that's an 80% return. So what happened today with Big Bear is we actually saw Big Bear in our past few trading sessions. We'd seen this basically downtrend and sort of a trend reversal happening. So that blue line, which is the rising support, it actually sold down through that blue line. But today we got this beautiful green candle on this 12% rally on quite a bit of volume as well. So we're going to go into the day volume, but essentially what Big Bear did is it ended right on its rising support. And that does matter from a technical standpoint, because we can see in a lot of our growth stocks lately that they have been responding and jumping off the rising support. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see a candle like this, but historically Big Bear does move in very explosive ways. So you can see even recently there was a candle that kind of looked like that. So could we see in an ultra bullish case Big Bear have a nice green candle to the upside? In a base case, I would see Big Bear kind of moving around. It looks like 4 maybe in the rear view mirror for a little while here, but Big Bear could also sell down and catch itself on this 4 position. We know that 4 is a key psychological position. So for it to blast through 4 today and get up into some higher price points is really nice for Big Bear. So what actually happened in the trading days, we saw all this volume come in and just push the stock 14% in a matter of an hour or something during the trading day. Yeah, 14% move. And then there was a little bit of sell-off, but we can see that even through the day, we had some big volume. So maybe there's some good catalyst coming up, maybe a good piece of news. People want to position themselves early in something that might have a chance to be anything even remotely similar to Palantir. Palantir obviously has had an incredible run in the stock market. So if Big Bear can keep growing, if they can post better revenues, if they can clean up their balance sheet and eliminate debt, then Big Bear looks very promising. It looks like they're in the right sector. The stock is starting to get into a bit of a zeitgeist and a FOMO. So I think this rally is intact. And if we want to look back at the month and just kind of look at that rising support again, it's so clear to me that Big Bear wants to continue to move. Now, will that actually happen? It depends on macro. It depends on obviously things that are within our ability to know and outside of our ability to know, but hopefully Big Bear continues its rally. I'm playing Big Bear. Personally, I have long positions and I have many calls at the $4 strike. All right, so LAES, SealsQ. This is our quantum kind of cybersecurity play that has been really coming alive, but it hasn't had the easiest time. This has been a tough stock for me to call because every time it breaks through my 388, it gets rejected. And this yellow line here is that 388. So over the course of a couple trading weeks, we saw 388 send SealsQ, that's a terrible arrow, send SealsQ back down. So it just really hasn't been able to hold or close above 388. It's come above and touched higher price points, but it has not been able to hold. So we actually saw a gap down and potentially a bearish reversal on this ticker if we were connecting this channel. And what we saw today was potentially, again, kind of a similar thing to Big Bear, where maybe the trend is starting to turn more bullish. So I think 350 is going to come into play. 350 is an attractive strike for options. Also, I hold long-term shares in this company because I believe in what they're doing and the importance of post-quantum cybersecurity and the hardware, the acquisitions they made with IC Alps. There's a lot of good things going for SealsQ. So in the short term, the stock, to put it quite simply for you all, it has to get past 388. And I really see, even in a bull case, it's going to have a tough time. Now, if we look at a base case, I could see it just chopping around and using 350 as support, maybe coming back down and repeating some of this price action. For the ultra bulls on SealsQ, what we need to see is we need to see a break through 388 and we need to close above 388 and use that as support going forward. So that is what I'm looking for LAES. All right, that is all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this content. Just wanted to record a quick video while I'm away. If you haven't already, head over to thequantumbull.com and look around. Take a look at the invest page, which has every 6 weeks or so, I update the Quantum 8. So I have rankings of what I think are the top 8 quantum stocks in the stock market. So go take a look at that, and good luck in the market tomorrow. See you guys later.